Hi, hello, I'm Sarah, and we are going to be studying here at Torsu today. I came to the park to avoid construction sounds because they are building another building right beside my apartment right now. So I think for the foreseeable future, unfortunately, there will be a lot of construction noise just like around my apartment building. So I thought coming to the forest might be nice. I bet you can hear it. There is also construction right beside the forest right now. So I guess we can't avoid it. The noise will follow us everywhere. I just got back from visiting my family in Canada and getting my visa all switched over from a working visa into a student visa. The trip itself was great, but the flight home was just like absolute nightmare, and I will be complaining about it until the day I die, I'm pretty sure. But now I am back. I'm back in Korea with my new student visa, and I am set to start school in just a few weeks. Today I thought we could try out different Korean snacks, and I can rate them on how good they are to eat as like a study snack, if that makes sense. I don't know if this is interesting to anybody but me, but I thought it would be really fun. Maybe it's just an excuse to eat snacks, I don't know. Yesterday I went grocery shopping, and while I was there, I bought like this full backpack full of snacks. Let me show you what I brought. 양파링, banana king, honey butter chips, 초코밤, 초코송이, 앞으로. I have so many snacks here to try today. And then for actual study material, I brought Korean Stories for Language Learners, and this is a collection of traditional Korean folktales specifically made for beginner language learners. It looks like this. They're going to have like the story in Korean and then the story in English, and then it'll have some pre-reading questions here, and then vocabulary, so anything that they think that you probably won't know already, they'll have it here, and then some culture notes about the story, and then some comprehension questions. I'm going to skip over to the next story here, which is going to be, wait a second, let me read this. 암에게 초를 한 호랑이, which is the tiger who bowed to the chestnut. And then I have my glasses. So let's put those on now so that I can actually read the book. Now I am officially ready to actually study. I look like such a nerd, but that's okay. I just have to choose what snack do I want. I think I want to try the 양파리 first. So let's open this one up. So they look just like this, and they're kind of just like a puffed onion, I guess. These are really good. They taste just like an onion ring that you would get from a fast food restaurant. It's exactly like a veggie straw if you've ever had a veggie straw, except it tastes like an onion ring. Let's start. Usually the first thing I do is just try to read through the story in Korean as best I can, so I'm just gonna do that. I think I understood maybe 25% of what that story was about, but I didn't really look at a lot of the vocabulary or anything that they could have taught me. I'm gonna leave that for a bit later. These books don't really teach you any grammar. They're really not about grammar. It's just for reading practice. So if you think that your grammar is still very low, for example, you don't know how to use like past tense verbs, you might have a really hard time reading this book, but I think that you'll be fine as long as your grammar is at least at like a mid-beginner level. So while I was reading, I had these ones. They didn't leave a lot of residue. Like, I don't think I'm gonna stain my book at all, so that's okay. So as a study snack, I would rate 양파링 probably like a 7 out of 10. Very yummy. And now I am going to hold this up and take it back home because obviously I have too many snacks to actually finish every single bag here right now. Because my mouth is hurting a little bit, I'm actually going to eat these cookies because I've tried these before and I know that they don't like press against the roof of your mouth like that other one did. The top of the box opens like this, and then inside is a little packet. I've always thought these are so cute. They look like a little mushroom. The top is chocolate and the bottom is cookie. Really yummy. The next thing I want to do for studying this book is actually write out the Korean in my notebook. Give me some time to do that while I eat these really delicious little chocolate snacks. I finally finished it. It took me so long, but it looks like this. Basically, I just wrote the entire story out in Korean with each sentence taking up one line like this, and then with one gap in between. I find that I understand the story a lot better if instead of just seeing this like giant block of text in Korean, I can break it down sentence by sentence, and then as I write it, I can comprehend the Korean a lot better, if that makes sense. I think it's time to give the final review on our chocolate cookies. These ones, I would say like 8.5 out of 10. If you hold them by the bottom, your hands don't get dirty at all, which is great for touching your textbooks. These are almost too delicious, where you want to just keep eating them and eating them and eating them. If you're studying for a long time, it's going to be hard to kind of stretch this one package over a full study session. I almost finished the package writing that. I had to actually stop myself from eating them, so I don't know if you would consider that making it a higher score or a lower score, but yeah, maybe hard to eat slowly because they're very easy to eat and very tasty. I don't want to have another chocolate one right away. Maybe I'm gonna have honey butter chips, which is another one that I know that I like. Oh no. Korean snack bags actually have a serrated edge here so that you can rip them like this along the side, but I don't want to do that today because I don't want to finish the whole bag. I want to be able to close it really easily. I want to be able to open the top, but sometimes the bags can be glued because they're not meant to be pulled apart at the top like Canadian snacks are. The bag glue can be so strong sometimes at the top. Like this one, instead of pulling the glue apart, I actually just ripped the material of the bag. Now these ones I know are going to be greasy. They're literally covered in honey and butter. So I'm just gonna taste a few and then clean off my hands and then touch my textbooks. Honey butter chips are great for people that like salty sweet flavors. They have a very almost oily buttery taste. As just a snack, I would rate them like an 8.5 out of 10. But as a study snack specifically, I think I would have to put them like more like a 5 because they are so oily. I'm learning that my criteria of a good study snack is just a very clean study snack. I'm actually going to open up this bag of chocolate snacks because I feel like I'm honestly almost done studying this story. They're not very long. So I'm gonna open this up while I am studying that one. This is the chocobang, the chocolate croissant. They're like these little chocolate croissants like this. They're a very soft puff that kind of dissolves in your mouth. I absolutely love this one, but I'm realizing they do leave chocolate dust on your fingers. So I was hoping to be able to eat these actually while I studied. But I think just like the honey butter chips, I'm just going to have to eat a few and then study. So the next thing I'm gonna do with the book is go through all of the vocabulary and go sentence by sentence and write out what I think that each sentence means in English. I finished my first sentence, so this is basically what I'm going to do. I take each word here and then write the English directly underneath and then kind of translate that into a real English sentence afterwards. Okay, so I have officially finished my interpretation of the story. I haven't checked it with the book's translation yet, but I'm pretty confident that I got almost everything right. There was just one word that I didn't know. I'll have to check that with the English translation and try and figure out what word I'm missing from my version of the sentence that's in their version, and then I can hopefully figure out what that word is. I'm pretty confident that I know it quite well. Basically what happens is there's a tiger walking through the forest and he is really hungry. So he sees a hedgehog and he decides to try and eat the hedgehog. So he bites the hedgehog, but the hedgehog quills stab him. So the tiger is hurt and then leaves, and then he's still hungry, so he's walking through the forest and he sees a little chestnut burr. He thinks of the hedgehog and he gets scared of the chestnut burr, and so he kind of like bows down to the chestnut burr so that it won't hurt him anymore. In this version, that's the end of the story. Before I check my translation against the book's translation, I am going to try one of the last two snacks that I have, and I think I'm going to try the banana king puffs. I think these ones are made by the same people as the onion rings, and these ones look like this. I would say these ones are a lot softer than the onion rings. They're not going to cut my mouth up. Do you know that kind of fake banana flavor that banana candies have? That's what this is. It's a very like artificial banana, but it's very strong. There's like a tiny bit of dust on my hands, but there's no like oil. So I think that these would be okay to touch my books after without having to wipe my hands first, which is good. I've got my notebook here, English translation here. Let's check my work. So reading through this, I pretty much got it right. The only thing I can find from this sentence that I wasn't sure about the word is because. My sentence ended up being the hedgehog's quill hurt the tiger, and their sentence was the tiger was hurt because of the hedgehog's quills. So I don't know if this is just like a grammatical word that I don't know. I don't have any data on my phone right now, so I'll just remember this word and then look it up later. And then the only other one that was different was this sentence here. I'll put it here so that you can read it a little bit better. Basically, my translation was the tiger watched and thought about the hedgehog, but their translation was the tiger thought that the chestnut burr was a hedgehog. I don't know if that's different enough that I could consider my sentence wrong. Probably I'll just ask a friend to read it over for me and kind of see how they would translate it. But everything else was just like really small differences. Like they said could not, I said couldn't. That kind of like minuscule, not important difference. Overall, I think I did very well with this story. While I was reading, I did eat these guys because I could. I think I have a really good amount of crunch. And the flavor is very strong, so you don't want to eat them too frequently. As a snack itself, I would rate it probably like a 6.5, but as a study snack, probably like a 9, just because you don't want to eat it too frequently. It doesn't leave too much residue on your hands, and it is yummy. So I think with this bag, it could stretch out for like a multiple hour long study session. The last thing I like to do is just to read the story over a couple of times, the Korean again, now that I have the English translation kind of in my head, and try to understand the words without directly translating them into English. Preferably, I could do that to start with and not translate in English at all, but at the moment, if I see this huge block of text, my brain kind of just like shuts off, and I need to go through and make sure that I understand everything first. And then once I know that I understand the story, I'll read through it without trying to think in English and just trying to think in Korean. While I do that, I'm going to eat these ones, which I know aren't going to be too messy. They're like little sugary sticks, and I think you like chew on them. I should have made sure before I brought them here how you actually eat them. Ooh, a pigeon. Hi. Oh, he ran away. They have a lot of fruit along the bottom, which makes me wonder if each one is a different fruit flavor. Maybe I'll try like 2 and let you know if they taste any different. You can see it's like a little plastic straw basically, and then inside is like sugary paste. And I think what you do is you just chew on it like this. Now this one is supposed to be sakla, apple flavored, so let's try it out while I read over my story a few more times. I read my story again. I think I can understand it a lot better. I'm gonna try the blue flavor now, which should be blueberry. Let's see. They're actually sour, which is quite refreshing from all of the other like really sugary snacks that I brought with me. I did not bring anything healthy today. Honestly, it tasted to me the same as the green one. I'm gonna take my hair down because I don't really need to study that much anymore. I'm the kind of person that will think that Coke and Pepsi taste exactly the same, which I know that some people can like really tell a difference between the two. I just can't. So maybe there is a difference between the different flavors, but at least between the green and blue that I tried, I can't taste anything. For me personally, it's not really my style. I don't really like the ones that are just literally straight sugar, but I do recognize this one is made for kids, and I bet kids would really love this. So for me personally, I'd give this one like a, I don't know, 4.5, 5. As a study snack, I think these come in quite small pieces, so you could spread it out for quite a long time, and it's very clean, but it does require you to hold it and like chew on the plastic. But if you're doing some sort of like reading or watching a tutorial or something like that and you have your hands free, then this one could be like a pretty good like mindless, almost like fidget while you're watching to help you focus maybe. So I think for a study snack, I'd rate this like a 7.5. I will put my ranking here of the snacks because I don't actually remember what I ranked each one. So that is my snack review. The last thing that I would do with this story is practice actually speaking out loud because it does have such a great CD with a native speaker reading the story for you. I don't have a computer to put the audio files on, so I don't actually have access to it right now. That's probably something that I will do tonight, but I don't think I'm actually going to film that part, so just trust me, I'll do it. Now I am just going to relax and enjoy the park. And now I have this giant bag full of open snacks, which I will have to share with some friends. Don't worry, they're not gonna go to waste. I think that is everything for this video. If you like this video and you wanna see more, or if you're studying Korean and you need some study motivation, you can subscribe to this channel, Strawberry Kimchi Korean. Or if you wanna see more of my life in Korea, you can follow my Instagram at Strawberry Kimchi. Okay, and with that, I think I will let you go. I'll see you next time. Bye!